Good morning, everyone. I'm Karen Yankovich, and we are here today talking about live streaming. And we're here with the Mahwah Regional Chamber of Commerce. And I'm presenting this today in our social media workshop series. We've got a bunch of people on live today. We're having some co-host challenges. We can't add our co-host today. So I'll keep trying, Patty. If you keep wanting to log in, if I can see you, I'll get you in. And I'll let you know if that happens. But at this point, I still can't, for whatever reason, add you as a co-host. So I'm Karen Yankovich. I am the CEO of Uplevel Media, and I am a social media brand strategist. I help entrepreneurs and small businesses use social media profitably. So I'm really excited to be here today talking about social media topics. Of course, I'm excited about this whole social media workshop series. I think it's been amazing. And if you guys have missed some of these, you want to go back in and check some of the old ones. I am also about to go live on this. So a little heads up, I want to welcome our Facebook group members. We are broadcasting this through the webinar, but we are also broadcasting this webinar today live on the Mahwah Chamber Facebook group. So if you go on a Facebook, and now obviously, you don't want to watch it in both places, but if you go on the Facebook group, you can also watch this here. So I'm doing this because I want you to see some practical applications of how to use live streaming. We're going to talk about what we're doing with Facebook later, but I just kind of wanted to welcome anybody that's watching this on Facebook as well. And we're going to get started. So first, I want to just thank our sponsors. We have got R&D Legal Bookkeeping. They are sponsoring this social media series. Uplevel Media, that's me. That's my company. I would love for you to follow me, check out my website, and I'm going to show you later how to follow me on some of my social media sites. And of course, I'm always around to help you with your social media issues. Patty Simone, who is my co-host, who I can't seem to add today, is also, oops, Patty, I can add you now. Hang on, I'm going to add Patty as I am not sure why. So Patty, see if you can, oh, wait, hang on, let me unmute you. Whoops. Okay, so Patty should be here. Patty, are you there?
I'm here.
Yay. Okay,
Yay.
so we finally have Patty with us. Patty's going to help me out today with this webinar, monitor the chat, and I can do that as well, and just keep an eye on how things are going. But this is Patty, womencentric.net. You should follow Patty. And Patty, do you want to jump in, and do you have anything you want to say before we get started here?
Well, I missed what your intro was. How much did you do of your intro? I wanted
Well, why don't you do it over? Why don't you do it over? Because I just kind of winged it because I wasn't really prepared for it. So I just kind of.
All right. Well, obviously you welcome people to the Mahwah Regional Chamber of Commerce social media workshop series. We're really excited to be presenting this, and we're really excited that Karen's here. She's a conversational conversion expert, and she rocks a variety of communities on social media, Lab, Twitter, and Facebook, and of course live streaming, which is what we're going to be covering today. And she's also a nationally recognized leader on LinkedIn, which is so cool. Through her company, Uplevel Media, LLC, Karen guides career track professionals, C-suite executives, startups, and established brands alike to more profitable use and engagement through strategic conversations. Her expertise centers around building authentic rapport with clients, prospects, influencers, the media, etc., and leveraging those resulting dialogues into transformative brand expansion, service, and sales channels. She's a popular trainer and speaker, and her advice has been featured on Daily Worth, Social Media Examiner, The Huffington Post, and so many more. And of course, you can find more about her consulting, her LinkedIn workshops, and various programs and speaking topics on KarenYankovich.com. So without further ado, let's get started on live streaming. I am so excited that you're going to be live streaming while you're giving this workshop.
Yeah, so Patty, I mean, gosh, did Patty not do that so much better than me? Everybody needs to hire Patty to intro them, right? So thank you for that lovely intro. Yes, we are live streaming this on Facebook right now. So we may have some additional people. I cannot monitor the Facebook comments and this at the same time, mainly because I can't point the phone at my screen and and see the comments. But just so you know, if anybody is in, and if, Patty, if you've got your Facebook monitor up, you can actually, if people can actually comment live on Facebook, just like you would on a comment if somebody posted a post on a picture you did, and there can be some interaction there as well. So I'm not expecting you to do that, Patty. I'm just saying if you choose, then you see anything there, feel free to jump in and talk about that. So we've got 2 streams going here, and that's kind of what live streaming is all about, right? So I'm going to kind of jump into this. I am, if you guys saw any of my previous workshops, I love to be in the platforms. Okay. So we're going to be in, on PowerPoint a little bit, but for the most part, we're going to be in the platforms. And I'm going to show you how I use them and how you can use them and what I think about some of these things. So these are what we're going to talk about here today. Meerkat, Periscope, Blab, Facebook Live for your business page, Facebook Live for your personal page, and Facebook Live for your groups, which is brand new as of last week-ish. So I'm really excited to talk about that. And I guess I want to just talk a little bit about live streaming in general, okay, before we start talking about the individual platforms. Listen, I love social media. I love Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and I have strategies for all of them, but nothing without a doubt has grown my business faster than live streaming. And that's why I'm really excited to be talking about that here today, because it gives you the ability to get in front of a whole new audience. Okay. It gives you like a fast track down that know, like, and trust path, right? Because people are getting to hear you. They're getting to see your face. They're getting to, to see what you're all about. And it gives you the ability to really get to know them more quickly. It's live interaction. Because it's live, it's real, it's raw. Listen, I am on the high side of 50, right? So I get up and I don't want to be on camera. When I was doing YouTube videos, I had the hair and the makeup and, you've got lights and all this other cool stuff, right? But with live streaming, I had to give that all up. It's real. It's raw. You get to know the real me. Not that I don't think the real me is in my YouTube videos, but there may be a little more scripted than what you're going to see from me on live stream, right? So there's so many cool ways to use this. I'm going to talk about that as we go through this. But know that if you're open to it, and if you have a strategy, we'll talk about what those strategies might be. You can very, very quickly get your audience in front of a whole new audience. Okay, so there's a few things we're going to talk about before we get to the actual platforms. And I want to go over a couple of things that I think are universal to all platforms. Okay, so the first thing I want you to think about before you go live on any of these platforms, and again, we're going to take you into the platforms in a minute. So just kind of take note of what I'm saying here, and hopefully it will make sense when you see the platforms. When you create a live broadcast, you put a title and a description in for your broadcast, right? That's what gets shared. So if you're on Periscope, when you go live on Periscope, that can automatically get shared to Twitter. So not only does all of your Periscope audience get notified by that, but your Twitter audience gets notified by that. If it says, hey, Karen's live, okay, that might be interesting, but not as much as, and it could be anything, like, right? If I'm a realtor, it could be, hey, I'm checking out this, I'm about to walk into the new pizzeria in town, and I'd love for you guys to come in here with me, right? So that you would want the title to kind of really be engaging. So people have to kind of be like, yeah, I want to check that out, right? That's common for every single platform we talk about here today. So you want to make sure that your title and your description for your broadcast, that you put some thought into it, because that's what gets shared. And there's some school of thought, and I use it. If you're on the Facebook page, you'll see it's in the title of the Facebook Live broadcast we're doing right now on the MAWA Chamber group. It's got, the title of this promotion here today, or this webinar here today, was that live streaming is hot, right? So I used some flames, emojis on either side of the title, because, studies are saying that the emojis draw more attention to your broadcast. So think about that, the title and description, when you're creating a new live broadcast. Another tip is, when you plan to broadcast live, let as many people know as possible. Now, this may not be doable if you're doing something on the fly, right? Like if you're a realtor walking into that new pizzeria, you may not want to, you may not know an hour before that you're going to do that. But I'm going to show you one of the things that I do. I live stream my blog posts on a regular basis. So if I know that I'm going to live stream my blog post at 11 a.m., I may start at 10 a.m. tweeting about it or post it on Facebook or share it on some other platforms, right? So make sure that when you have a plan to broadcast, let as many people know as possible, because the goal here is to get more eyes on you and what you're doing. So that's kind of tip number 2. Tip number 3 is acknowledging your audience builds your audience. Okay, so it's kind of funny because the first time I went live on Facebook, actually, Patty, I think I was with you, right? Remember we were at the
Yes, we were at the Mawa Bar and Grill.
Right, and I realized for the first time that I had the ability to go live on Facebook. So poor Patty, I'm like, Patty, we're going live on Facebook. And some of my Facebook friends, when I was acknowledging them, they were like, whoa, what? You're calling me out, right? But if you're on Periscope, it's really a nice thing. Like today, like right now, I can be watching who's here with us, and I can see that Anita's here, and Carl's here, and Dale's here, and Pat's here, and Rita's here, and Sharon's here, and Patty's here, and we've got all these people here. Acknowledging this makes people feel like I'm connecting with them. And when I say acknowledging your audience, I want you to do more than acknowledge your audience. I want you to pay attention to who the people that consistently show up are. Okay. And Michael talked a lot about Twitter. And if you haven't seen that webinar, you would definitely want to go back on that. You guys, I don't know if things are popping up. Things are popping up on the screen. So I don't know if you guys are seeing the things that are popping up on the screen share here, but Michael talked about Twitter lists. So I have a Twitter list of people that are consistently watching my live streams. What I do is I make sure that I let them know that I appreciate that. I share their content, like their content. I try to engage with them on their platforms of choice, because I know that they're consistently engaging with me on my live streams. So make sure that you acknowledge your audience. You may feel like you're talking to yourself, right? But you're not. There's people on the other side. Acknowledge them and get to know them and encourage them to stay on and to share your broadcast with their followers. Pretty cool stuff.
It absolutely works brilliantly, because I'll go on in the morning sometimes, and there's this guy that is based out of Paris, and he's doing his walk, and he's going to Euro Disney, or he's in the Louvre or whatever. And when he says to me or to everyone that's watching, whatever, I'll make a comment to him. Oh, this is so cool. I'm here from New York or whatever. And he makes a comment back. You feel validated. You feel like you're having a conversation, and he's, wherever he is live, or then next I'm in Dubai watching the skyline for some guy that's doing the skyline. And he does the same thing, not just with me, but with anyone who comments.
Right. Well, you know what, Patty, I'm going to kind of go off on a little bit of a tangent on that, if that's okay with everybody here, because I want to acknowledge. So this guy's name is Euro Maestro. Is that what you're talking about,
Yes.
Patty? So
That is exactly who I'm talking about.
Maestro. Maybe you can type that in the chat. He's a Periscoper. And this guy, I first started following him on Periscope, and I was like, what is this guy doing? He Periscopes things like the Eiffel Tower lighting every night. He Periscopes things like just all this kind of like, feel good, no business kind of stuff. But I got to tell you, in October of 2015, he was flown from Paris to New York to be a part of the Periscope Summit. I was actually a part of that as well. So I got to meet him and I got to speak with him, and he was backstage at the Today Show, and he was, he did all kinds of cool things when he was here in New York, just by whipping out his iPhone and walking around the streets of Paris on a consistent basis, acknowledging his audience, building his audience. He didn't really have a plan to monetize it. Or at least
no, not at all. He's not selling anything. It's so cool.
Right. He's not selling anything. But he's becoming known worldwide in this short year that Periscope's been in existence. He's got a huge following. He's very cool. You guys should all follow him on Periscope. And we'll talk, if you're not familiar with what I'm even talking about here, we're going to talk about Periscope in a minute. But it is just one example of how fast your brand can grow if you have a plan and if you do this consistently. Okay, so the next tip is decide on your broadcast length and frequency of broadcast. So different platforms might lend to different kinds of broadcasts, but you want to, if you're going to do this to grow your business, you want to decide on what the frequency of your broadcast is going to be. Are you going to Periscope? I mean, there's people that Periscope 5 or 6 times a day, short little Periscopes, and there's people that broadcast longer Periscopes. I tend to use Periscope for shorter broadcasts and Facebook Live for longer broadcasts, Blab for longer broadcasts. We'll talk about these as we go on. But these are kinds of things that are just common to all of these platforms. And if you're going to do this to grow your brand, you want to pay attention to these things. And then the last thing is decide what type of content you want to broadcast. Okay, again, we'll talk about that when we get to the platforms, but again, I'll go back to the realtor, because I think realtors, I am always telling my realtor friends, your iPhone should be out all the time, right? You should be, as you see a beautiful, I live in Ringwood, right? So beautiful, the gardens are so beautiful and they're starting to really bloom. And I would be up there and I'd be taking pictures of it and periscoping and putting all that on my YouTube channel, and we'll show you how that all works.
Yeah, giving neighborhood tips, showing different areas of neighborhoods for folks that are considering to move there. You become the authority on that.
Exactly. And think about how that would work for your business, right? Especially if you have a local business. It's so funny. I try to do a combination of business / human interest stuff, right? So, I broadcast some business things, of course, but I also sometimes broadcast walking my dog in the morning, because people feel like they're connecting with me that way. And there's a woman that I'm thinking of a particular example of. I was walking my dog one morning, and I live in Ringwood, I live on the lake, so it's a pretty walk. And I had somebody interacting with me this was on Periscope. I had somebody interacting with me on Periscope, and just by talking to her, she taught, I was saying something about needing to get organized about something, and turns out she's an organizer of something. And I ended up doing business with her. She ended up doing business with me, just from me walking my dog. But what it's doing is it's making me kind of like available, right? I taught like Oprah, when Oprah periscopes, not that I'm comparing myself to Oprah, but when Oprah periscopes, in her kitchen or taking her dog for a walk and things like that, it makes her more relatable. And we want to do business with people we can relate to. So again, for me, I like to broadcast a combination of human interest and business. So again, I just kind of want you to remember here the couple of things I said, and I'll give you some examples as we go on, how fast you can use these platforms to grow your business. I can think of a couple of people that I've become friendly with and that I know because I got to know them through these live streaming platforms, and their business absolutely took off as a result of this. Their business model is, I'm going to Periscope 4 times a day, and I'm going to build my business. And here's the plan for those 4 Periscopes. It's free. It costs them nothing. And they're getting a huge amount of exposure by doing these kinds of things. It's really an exciting time for online businesses to really be able to kind of connect with their audiences in a much quicker and a much stronger basis. And just kind of one more tip before we get onto the platforms. I mentioned a little while ago that I met Euro Maestro at the Periscope Summit. And, I've gone to conferences all over the world. And Patty, I know you have too. And, you go to these conferences and you know people sort of, but you don't really know a lot of them. And maybe you know 1 or 2 people. When I went into the Periscope Summit, I felt like I walked into a room of 100 people that I already knew, and I had never met any of them before. It was I can't even describe it. I can't even describe the feeling. You kind of have to experience it to believe it. But to walk into this conference where all of these people that I've seen their kitchens or their dogs, or, I've heard them talk, I've had conversations with them, walking into a room full of all of these people was an amazing, amazing thing.
And that you just said that's the key right there. It has allowed people to have conversations on an authentic level that prior to this, when I used to be cold calling way before, in the dark ages, before the internet, nobody knew who I was, and they were less apt to talk to me. When you've been watching these people and you've been hearing how they have conversations and you're having conversations back, it's brilliant. The ice is broken and you are feeling like you know each other.
Exactly. It's exactly true. And you feel like you know people so much more quickly and they feel like they know you. And let's get real. That's the bottom line to this, right? I'm running a business. As much as I like to make new friends, I'm not really looking to make new friends here. I'm looking to make new solid business connections. I'm looking to get more clients. I'm looking to bring more people into my network. Okay. So let's start taking a look at the actual platform. Okay, so let me just see here. All right, I'm gonna take you over. We're gonna start with Periscope, and I'm gonna kind of bring over here. The thing with these things is the thing with Periscope is you've got to do it from your phone. So it's kind of hard for me to show you this on the computer, but you can see here I've got 3,000 followers on Periscope. I'm following 300 people, so it's not like I need to follow people to do that, right? Um, I have a call to action in here, right? It's a clickable link, so you can, click on that. Let's see if we can click on watch a live broadcast and see who's broadcasting here. And I'll show you in a second what you can see through Periscope. But basically, sunrise on the mountain. I don't know if we want to watch Wasim, but this is live, unscripted here, you guys. How cool. I'm going to be quiet for a second.
Yeah, from Hollywood, California. And he's got 50
Yep.
people, 51, 52. You can see the count that changes on the bottom of the screen of how many people are watching.
All right. So Wasim, we're gonna go off you, but that's just kind of like a quick example of what you can see. Now, I haven't broadcasted in the last 24 hours. With Periscope, it keeps your broadcast for 24 hours on your Periscope account, and that's really cool because it kind of gives people a little bit of a fear of missing out, right? You want to make sure that if you want to see what I have to say, you've got to keep an eye on it. You got to see what I'm periscoping, when I'm periscoping, how I'm periscoping, right? So, I want you to, with Periscope, there's a couple things I want to just kind of mention to you with Periscope. Um, the first thing is I wish I could show you, and I can't, but I wish I could show you the buttons on maybe if I click get the app, it'll show it. Let's see what happens when I click get the app. No, it's not going to do that. When you go live on Periscope, it gives you the option to create, to show your location. And people get all wigged out about that a little bit. Well, I don't want people to know where I am, blah, blah, blah. But that's a really powerful, powerful, powerful feature, because I can't even tell you, if I go live on Periscope with that feature on versus without that feature on, I get twice as many people on my broadcast. And what that means is I'm, obviously reaching more people, but people want to know about the people that are around them. So again, I'll go back to my realtor or any other local businesses. If you have a location-based business, I would make sure that at all times you have a broadcast in the last 24 hours, because you will be on that map. You will show up on that map with your broadcast, with your replay. Okay. Like I said, the replay is only available for 24 hours. So that replay will show up for that full 24 hours. So if I have a location-based business, which I don't, which is why you don't see this here, I would make sure that I always had one thing on there. And then I'll give you an example. Like one time I was broadcasting, I was at my house, I was on my deck, and there was a local pizzeria that jumped on. He's like, "Are you in Ringwood?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in Ringwood." Now this guy didn't even know, I existed, right, as a social media consultant, but I've actually done some business with them. Right. He just jumped on because I was in Ringwood and he was in Ringwood. He's like, "What's this Ringwood person talking about social media?" Right. So, it's just, we like to do business with people that we know, they feel like we're local. Okay. So with Periscope, you want to Periscope consistently. If Periscope is a part of your business plan, you want to Periscope consistently. With Periscope also, it's not a two-way conversation. You're speaking to your audience. They can chat, kind of like Facebook. And if anybody's watching on the Facebook group now, it's kind of like Facebook, where they can chat and you can respond to the questions. Like Patty mentioned with Euro, she's like, "Oh, that's so cool." And then he comes back and talks to her, but they can't talk back to you. Okay. So you want to plan for that. You want to be organized about that. You want to have a plan for how you're going to handle that. So what you can do too, though, and you also can't type things in, like on Facebook, you can type things in. So what I'll do is I'm going to give you an example. One of the things that I do at the end of every Periscope, I want to keep an eye on the time here, so I don't want to go too long. The end of every Periscope, I tend to invite people to connect with me on LinkedIn. So if you know me, then you know that I love LinkedIn. And what I tell people is connect with me on LinkedIn after this Periscope, and then and let me know that you saw my Periscope. Because what you want to do after these Periscopes is you want to draw them into your world, right? So there's a couple different ways you can do that. Like I did a couple months back, I did a LinkedIn challenge, and initially it was free. I gave it away free to like the first 1,000 people that 2,000 people that took it. I gave away free to, and that's this linked up in 30 challenge you're seeing here. And I would say at the end of every thing, I would hold up a card, and I don't even know if I have it here, but I'll yeah, I do. I'm going to hold it up in front of the Facebook Live people that are watching this. It basically just says linkedupin30.com, right? I'd hold it up. I'd say take a screenshot of that, and then come and join me. It's free. So if you have a freebie, hopefully you have a page on that freebie that you can send people to from Periscope, right? And now that's drawing people to your email list. You send them to your LinkedIn page. It's drawing them into your world. You're starting the funnel of getting them into your world so that they can connect with you further. I mean, I've met people live. I've met people like, again, people from New Jersey tend to watch a lot of my Periscopes. So even though I can do business with people all over the world, I've gotten a lot of local business from Periscope. But I draw them in. People don't buy things from Periscope. They don't say, here's my credit card, but I have a plan. I want them either to connect with me on LinkedIn or to get one of my freebies, depending on what's going on in my business at any given time. I draw them in. Hopefully I have a funnel to be able to bring them to something that eventually will make them a paying client. Does that make sense, Patty?
It's great. And you know, it's so very funny. While you were speaking, I took a note and I put in the sidebar, why would something like this, because we're talking about you have a global possibility of a global audience, why would something like this matter to a local pizzeria? And then you told that story. I had no idea you were going to tell that story.
Oh,
And
that's
the answer
funny.
is obvious. You
That's
know, the
so
broadcasts are about being discovered, and you can get discovered from people that are 2 miles away from you just as easily as someone who's 10,000 miles away from you.
Absolutely. And I'll give a shout out to my friend Bonnie Frank. Bonnie Frank she's a business coach. And a year ago, she had zero clients, like zero clients. She had done all the training, but she just hadn't really found her niche to really grow her business. She took to Periscope like you can't imagine. And she periscopes a couple times a day to this day. Every year, she's extremely consistent. And she teaches people now how to Periscope. And that has built her business. She now has a very sustainable business solely from the work she's done on Periscope. I'm so impressed with her. I'm so impressed with the way she's done this. She's created ebooks that she sells for a couple bucks on how to Periscope. You know, she's taken this platform and she's really nailed it. I can think of another guy. He's actually a New Jersey guy also. He is a social media person, and he again periscoped a couple times a day, and now he's traveling the country doing social media workshops that he fills from periscoping. Right? So there's so many ways to do this, so many ways to use this platform to grow your business. And remember, you saw the guy, let's see who's live now. You saw that guy. It's a little dangerous because we don't know, I mean,
Yeah,
hopefully
exactly.
there's some filters on this.
Fingers
But
crossed, it won't be anything crazy.
yeah, hopefully there's some filters on this. But yeah, we're not going to go there. Welcome to the airport in Dubai. That's interesting. How cool is this, first of all?
Yes.
No idea what he's saying, but how cool is it that we are now in the Dubai airport, right? I have found myself watching, like just getting on Periscope and in a pub in Dublin, listening to music, right? In a
Oh,
pub in
yes, that
Dublin.
one guy is great. I love that pub.
Right,
I
right.
go
So there's so
often.
many, right. And again, it's not about making more friends. It's about how can you use this to get people to be thinking these things about you. Okay.
Right.
So we're not really going to talk about Meerkat here mainly because I don't use it, but it's very similar to Periscope. It's very similar to Periscope. I will give you an example. I went to the U2 concert a couple of months ago, whenever that was, in the fall, I guess, when U2 was at the Garden, and they had Meerkat up. So they had Meerkat up on the big screens in the middle of the Garden, and people were live streaming, posting, and they were live streaming their song, not the whole concert, but one or two songs. They had it live streaming, and they had the Meerkat comments on the big screen in the middle of the thing. So honestly, it's the coolest thing. It's so cool to be able to do these things. All
Yeah.
right, so let's go to Blab because I don't want to I can sit here and talk about Periscope forever. So let's go to Blab. And by the way, if you guys have any specific questions about how to use these platforms, feel free to jump in. Patty, feel free to interrupt me. We can take more at the end as well, but feel free to interrupt me. So here we are in Blab. And Blab is a little different than Periscope. Blab gives you the ability to talk to people, right? To have conversations. So it's more than just like you can see all of these people. Obviously, there's some not great things going on right now, but there's, here's some upcoming blabs that are happening. Like Susan Solovic, she was actually on my blab a couple of weeks ago. She's amazing. And she's doing a blab coming up, Power Ideas and Power Politics for Small Business Growth. Cool stuff, right? Here's Bonnie Frank that I mentioned earlier. Holly is from New Jersey. So Holly G Studios, she's a video company. You guys should check her out as well, especially if New Jersey peeps that need some help with your videos. Holly G Studios, she just moved to New Jersey, actually from New York too. So she's a recent Jersey girl. I guess Bonnie must be interviewing Holly about video marketing for your business. And it starts in an hour and a half, so we can't jump into that. But I'll take you on over to my Blab, because what happens with Blab is you'll see, you get the replays for the Blab stay in your history. Patty, let me see if I can find ours, because you and I blabbed.
Yeah, that's it.
A couple
Yeah,
times,
we did a blab
right?
together.
I got to scroll down here to see because Patty and I blabbed a while back, but here we go. So Christina Daves, my coworker, my business partner, Christina Daves, and I have a weekly blab. I don't think Christina was there the day you would. Oh, yeah, she was there. So basically,
she tried to come in and she had problems that day.
Oh, that's right. So basically, I'm going to hit play, but it'll be noisy. But you can see here all the comments on the side. So we're talking. I kind of like refer to it like the view. Okay, you can schedule it or you can just go live, randomly. And it's like you get these. So there's Patty. There's me. My co-host Christina Davis will be joining us shortly. She's at Newark Airport, trying to get some airport Wi-Fi. She can join us, so she'll be just like that. I'm just gonna wait for a second until Patty starts, so you can see how we can talk. And we've got Patty Simone joining us. We're going to do Patty in a few minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna pause that because I wanted you to hear the conversation, but obviously, I probably talked too much before Patty came on. But
no, that's
you can see, you can actually interview people this way. So I have this weekly show, and listen, you look like a big deal when you have a weekly show. Make no bones about it. This is free. You schedule a weekly show. You can interview your clients. You can interview coworkers. You can interview people in your industry. If again, we can go back to I can find an example for anybody on these platforms. So if you guys want to start ruminating in your head about how you might be able to use them, and then when we get to the Q&A, we can talk about it a little bit. But you can interview, if you're a realtor, maybe you can interview somebody about mortgages. Maybe you can interview somebody about home inspections. Maybe you can interview somebody about home decor or the top 3 things you want to do to your house to be able to sell it, right? So you can use Blab, again, to promote your business. And you're not selling on Blab. At no point did Patty or I or anybody on any of my Blabs ever say, now I want you to buy my stuff. We're positioning ourselves as an expert because people are listening to us talk about these topics and they can tell we know what we're talking about. So you can see here, we've got all these, Patty has her on the right-hand side here. You'll see Patty, and this is a clickable link, right? So my website is here. People are saying, what's your website, Karen? So they want to know more about me. You got to love that, right? So there's all kinds of ways to draw people into your business, into your world using these platforms. You can see here on the left, you can tweet or post about this right here and there. And even more important, you can upload this to YouTube that easily. So let me walk you through a blab. So let's say you schedule a blab, okay, and it's scheduled for whatever. Let's say it's scheduled for today, and it's Patty and I, and the blab is over. When the blab is over, Blab emails me a link to the audio and a link to the video, okay? So now I have this raw audio and this video. I do a little tiny bit of video editing. Okay. I'll show you my YouTube channel for that in a second, but I do a little tiny bit of video editing. You don't even have to do that. You can upload it right to YouTube. And when I say video editing, I put a little bumper on the beginning and the end. Okay. So, like I said, I do a tiny little bit of video editing, and now it's populating my YouTube channel. You can take that audio and you can upload it to iTunes as a podcast. Okay. So all you've done is clicked play, and Patty and I are chatting. Obviously, hopefully you have a topic, right? But you can create a podcast from this as well. So now you've got one broadcast, you've got a YouTube video, a YouTube video for your YouTube channel, you've got a podcast for your iTunes channel, and you've got all kinds of social media content now that you can share across Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, by creating things and linking them back to this blab, right? So one blab gives you a ton of social media content. And again, it makes you relatable, right? I mean, you can see my office, you can see Patty's office. Occasionally you'll hear the lawn guys outside, right?
Exactly.
Because it's always the lawn guy day when you turn your video camera on, right?
Of course.
It's never not lawn day, when you turn your video camera on. But I'll take you over here for a second. I'll take you to so Christina and I upload this every week. We have a Get Seen, Be Heard YouTube channel, and you can see we've only been doing this for a little bit here, but you can see we have 52 subscribers. I don't even know how many views we have, but we've got tons and tons of videos here that now, build our influence, and we can send people to this. If I'm looking to speak at an event, or Christina's looking to speak at an event, or something's going on, we can send people to this YouTube channel to help establish our expertise. And it's really basically a couple clicks after this blab. That was a couple of clicks to get started, right? So I hope that you can understand how powerful that could be. Patty, I know you've been using Blab too, right? You've started to do some video interviews.
I mean, it's exactly like you said. I mean, there's some people that just go on Blab and they're just saying, let's chat. And, it could be anything. And they're known in the industry. And this one gentleman that I met actually when I did a pod camp in Boston, his name is Bruce Garber. And sometimes he has a specific topic and he's interviewing someone. And sometimes it's just he's available on a Friday night and he wants to throw it out to the universe that, let's have a chat and see what's going on in your life. And they do in those kinds of chats sometimes cover stuff that's relevant to business. Sometimes it's actually sharing information about resources or advice. Sometimes they're experimenting with the platform and they want people to see, hey, we're learning this platform like you are. Here's what we discovered over the last week of what you can do, and it's really cool. And then there's things that are very structured, like what we do, where we are in fact interviewing somebody. We want to cover a specific topic. We want it to be valuable for people in business. So it's just a cool tool to use. And like you said, afterwards, you have so many different assets that you can use and repurpose and promote in different channels that it's just brilliant, and it's free. So
exactly.
Yeah, you have to plan, you have to put stuff together, but it's free.
Really cool. And I would just give you one other thing before we move on from Blab, and that.
Well, I just wanted to point out, Anita has asked, how can you control posts on the left side that may be offensive?
You can delete them, but you know what? It has really not come up. It comes up more in Periscope, I got to say, than Blab. But in Periscope, you can just easily block it. It doesn't really come up as much in Blab. I don't know, why.
Yeah,
I can't think of a single time I've ever had to block someone on Blab. I will say this though about Blab too, that it's important to know. Like many of you guys have heard of Blog Talk Radio or any radio show where you're interviewed and they're looking for guests to come on and ask questions. Like, we've got the lines open. Who's got a question? And nobody's ever on the lines because who the heck has time for that anymore? With Blab, like for my example, Christina and I actually schedule the Blab every Thursday at 2:30 in the afternoon. And then we have a guest. So Patty was our guest that week. And then we have a fourth seat open. You can have 4 people. So we could bring people on. Let me see if I can jump to a middle part here and see if we can show you how it looks. You can have so there's Christina in the Newark airport. Hang on, let me just jump and see. I think we had a couple people on as guests. Yeah. So let me just pause this. So this person came on. She had a couple questions for Patty or me or Christina, and she was able to come on and ask and join us and ask the questions live. You don't get that interaction as easily on any other platform. So it's really cool stuff.
Right.
All right, I'm going to move over to Facebook now because this is the one that, again, it's the hottest thing going, honestly. Let's go on over to Facebook. I want to take you over first to, let's see if I can do this without blowing our minds a little bit here. Let's go over to the MAWA page and we'll watch what's happening live on this camera right here. Let's see if I can
that's
find
good.
it. Hold on one second. I got to go MAWA EMS. No, that's not what I wanted. MAWA Regional Chamber of Commerce. Okay, so what we're doing right now is I've got my camera. Now, normally I wouldn't have it. I mean, you could have it set up, right? Well, where is it? Hey, where are we? Oh, that just posted after that. Okay, so you can see here, this is live. We've got 5 or 6 viewers here live now watching this post. Okay, now I got to move this for you to see that that's actually live, right? Because it's watching this. Okay. Nope, we don't want the inbox. So you can see here that this is live. Now there's some comments on here. So Nitya saying great stuff. Looking forward to the Facebook part on the replay. She had to go off to work, but now she knows she can come back to the replay. So she's saying she can't see the whole screen. I probably should move my camera.
Yeah,
here,
it's the way it's angled. You can't see everything. But again, you know, you're on the primary screen, and on the replay, everyone will be able to see everything.
Well, on the replay, not on the replay on the replay of the webcast, but not of the replay on this.
The webinar, right?
I mean, obviously, you're going to do it, you know. But I just want to kind of show you how that is. So think about this. If you've got a group that you monitor, first of all, if you don't have a group, think about getting a Facebook group, because Facebook groups are the best way to get some interaction now with your tribe. So I have a group, and I actually, again, because this is brand new this week with the groups, I have a group called Get Seen, Be Heard. It's the group that supports the podcast that I do and the blab that I do, and we can now go live on that Get Seen, Be Heard group to interact live with our people, right? So that's really, really, I mean, can you tell I'm Italian? My hands keep going in the screen here. So
yes,
we can go live with the people in our group, and I can't really show it to you here because you have to do it from a mobile device. So what will happen is when you're on a mobile device, if you go here to write something, you see you have all of these options. There'll be another option here that gives you the ability to, it'll have like radio waves on the outside of it. And that's going to be the option to go live. You'll notice that I created I put these little emojis in here. I put the topic here. This stays on our page. So let me give you an example. I've not done this from my group yet, but I have done it from my business page. So let me take you on over to my business page and show you how I do that. So let's just talk about blogs. This is one of my favorite uses for live streaming. You have a blog. You guys, if you're not connected to me here on my Facebook page, I'd love to invite you to join me here. On my Facebook page, if I go to videos, I actually have a video playlist that I call Blogcast. So what I do is I go on, let's go to the Periscope one, just because that's, what we're talking about here today. I did a blog a few weeks ago. I don't want it to go live. Oh, look at that. Hold on. Let me let the picture go. So it's not such an awful picture of me. Oh well, forget it. I did a blog called, My New Addiction Periscope, 10 Tips for New Users. I then came onto Facebook Live and I talked through that blog post. So the blog post is static, right? It's flat on your page. You spend all this time creating it. You create images. Maybe you've got some tweets and some content going to it, but it's static, right? It's not, you can't really talk more about it. I then go on to Facebook Live. Let me see if I actually, turned it around on the post. I try to do that. Let me just scan through this real quick. I tend to turn it around so you can see the actual blog post on my screen as well at some point, or maybe I've done that with Periscope, not as much but you can do this on Facebook or Periscope. So this is one type of content that I like to do on a consistent basis. It gives me another audience. I mean, I want you to look at this. Where's the thing here? We've got 2,800 views. Okay, 2,800 views of this video. So my blog was seen by however many people. I now got that blog that I already created seen by another almost 3,000 people just by turning on the camera and talking about it and saying, so here's the point one, and just kind of chatting about it. And now people can interact. So you can go to the comments and I can answer the comments. Let's see the comments on this, right? So people can, people can jump on. Oh, so here's the link to the actual blog post. Oh, look, here's Jade was on there. So how fun is that, right? So you can see, now this didn't have a lot of comments, but it got a lot of views. So just by taking this content that I already created and going on Facebook and talking about it live, I got that same content in front of 3,000 more people, right? And by the way, at the end of my blog post, and let's just click on this so we can see it real quick, you guys are going to get to see my brand new website. If it comes up, let's hope it comes up. At the end of this, and I'm just I want to take you down the path of these because I want you to see how this works. All I really did was I talked about this. I went through this, right? I talked about the different things, right? And then I said, join my link. I had call to actions, right? Join my LinkedIn group, follow me on Periscope and watch the replays here. So I'm sure, at the end of the video, I can now say the same thing, join my LinkedIn group, right?
So Karen, I hate to interrupt you, but we're running close on time. So I wanted to see if there was anything that you wanted to wrap up before we open the floor for questions.
Yep, this is pretty much the end of that. I just wanted to mention one more thing about Facebook Live. You can do it from your personal page. This is from my business page. You can also do it from your personal page. So not everybody can do it from their business page. You have to get a verified Facebook account to do that. I mean, all I had to do to get verified was send in my birth certificate to say that I really am who I say I am. And they verified my page. But you can, let me just see if it shows there. See that little blue check mark means my page was verified. So you can do it from your personal page as well. Know you have a different audience there though, right? Again, know your audience. You want to use it. You want to make sure that you're not talking all business on your personal page. You want to make sure that there's a little bit of a mix, or find a way to engage your personal page people in a way that allows them to know what it is you do, and maybe they'll be interested in it, but you can't be as salesy, I think, on your personal page as maybe you could be on your business page.
Right. What about in terms of time? Because I'm sure that there's people that are saying, oh my gosh, this is a lot. And maybe they don't have the time to dedicate to this. I mean, optimally, would you say pick one channel and work that channel? Would you, say that, a certain amount of time needs to be spent in order to do it effectively to cover all the things that you've gone over today?
Well, I don't think that it needs to have a lot of time. I really don't. Like you saw that blogcast, right? If you're writing a weekly blogcast. So what I tend to do is my blogs used to come out on Thursdays. I now make my blogs come out on Mondays. So on Monday, my blog comes out, right? On Tuesday, I try to put 20 minutes on my calendar to do a live broadcast on Facebook on my blog post. Now, full disclosure, I haven't done a blog in a couple of weeks. I think there's one that's actually came out today, the first one in about a month and a half, just because I've been busy on other things. So hopefully later today or tomorrow, I'll do a blogcast about it. It takes me 20 minutes, right? I already wrote the content. All I have to do is I like to use my iPad because I can see it better. You can't use your computer. You've got to use a mobile device. My phone is just smaller than my iPad, obviously. So I like to use my iPad so I can see the comments easier. I can see who's there. I can call out the names more effectively. But it takes me 20 minutes. So there's no real ramp up time to doing this. It's not like I have to learn it. You just turn on your camera and talk. It's really pretty easy to do. So if you started with your blogs, you can also, by the way, do that on Periscope. You can do the same blog cast that I did on Facebook Live. You can do that on Periscope, and you just turn your camera around to talk to you, and then you turn it around again to talk to your Periscope audience. So they can see the blog, right? So you don't have to put a lot of time into it. I like I said, I'm a big fan of turn it on and just start playing and let it all kind of come together. As you start doing it, you'll start to think about ways that this will work best for you.
Right. And you know what? It is that simple, actually, in terms of doing the whole thing, that may not need to have a lot of prep work on it, because let's say you're a photographer, and you have a bunch of knowledge about a certain thing, a certain topic. You just say, okay, I'm going to talk for 6 or 7 minutes of that particular topic, and I'm going to show some examples of good and bad photography or whatever. And that's it. You're talking conversationally and, say hello, acknowledge people as they pop on or off. And then you've got that asset that you can also repurpose.
Absolutely. And you know what, Patty, when I mentioned like I Periscope walking my dog, I mean, everybody can do that. But because I talk about business and social media and I work from home and I talk a lot about that in my business, I try to fit that in. I try to say things like, so what's on everybody's agenda today? Boy, I have a busy day. I've got a conference next week that I'm doing that I'm not really ready to do. I'm still writing the thing about that. Did you guys have any ideas? I'm talking about Periscope at this conference. What questions would you have for me on that? Right. So even though I'm like doing the walk the dog thing, I try to find ways to just bring people into my world and let them know what it is I do for a living. It's really not hard to do if you just get comfortable with turning on your camera and talking.
Right, right. Well, I don't see. Okay, now let's see. Will this webinar be available for viewing later? Yes, it will, Dale. It absolutely will be available. So if you go onto the Mawa Chamber YouTube channel, I think it's a day or two, right, Karen, that it takes to go up there. It'll be available for you to watch at another time.
But it will also be available on the Facebook Live channel. As soon as I stop that broadcast, this webinar will be live there. So we can leave it there, and anybody that can watch it whenever they want.
Right. All right. So I'm putting that in the chat as well. YouTube channel and.
So while Patty, while you're doing that, I want you guys to look at this. Of course, I want you to follow me on Periscope and Blab and Facebook, so you can join and please join my conversations when I'm live. But I want you to see one thing, and you'll see that I have a consistent name across all platforms. And by the way, that's also my Twitter handle @Karen Yankovich. Because the more you do these things, the more consistent you need to be with your personal branding. You need to make sure if you have a different name on every platform, then people aren't maybe sure it's you, right? So you want to make sure you're really consistent if you use more than one platform in your personal branding, because you are representing your business, but it is you that's on camera. So it's your personal brand that's being represented by these live streaming platforms.
Excellent point. Excellent point. Why don't we tell some people about also the social media day that's coming up? That's very exciting. And the next webinar, do you have that information? I don't know if I have that actually.
Well, I'll talk a little bit about Social Media Day. Social Media Day, June 30th, 2016, the Mawa Chamber is going to be hosting Social Media Day. I'm so excited about this. It's a full day of social media training and tips, and we've got so many fun things planned for that day. We are currently reviewing speaker applications. We're hoping to have, I know we're going to have great speakers because I've seen some of the applications already. We have a very high level of speaker that's going to be at this event. So you're going to learn from the best in the business about how to use social media. And it's like I said, it's a full day. We've got keynotes and workshops and lunches, and we'll do some networking, and we'll learn how to follow each other on social media. We'll learn how to use social media for an event, right? Because this is an event about social media. So we're going to be doing a lot of talking about how we're using social media at Social Media Day for the Mawa Chamber. So when you have live events, or if you're live anywhere, you'll get to learn a little bit from that too. So it's really going to be a great, great, great day. I'm actually want to pull up, I don't have the sponsor logos. I should have put the sponsor logos in this presentation, but I want to make sure that we acknowledge the sponsors for Social Media Day. I'm going to pull that up in a second. The next webinar, Patty, is, hang on one second.
Yeah, you can go to the mawa.com and you can click on events, and you'll see the whole full listing of the next upcoming webinar or workshops that we're going to be offering before Social Media Day.
The next workshop is Instagram. It's May 4th. And I believe it's Michael Savino that will be talking about Instagram. Mike Savino will be talking about Instagram on May 4th, 9 a.m. So definitely go to the Chamber website and register for that. And let me just pull up real quick. I want to just make sure that, Patty, why don't you tell a little bit more about what's happening on Social Media Day, and I'll grab the sponsors so we can make sure that they get thanked.
Yeah, well, we've structured this as optimally as we can because we've all been, well, the people who are on the committee have all been to a lot of these tech conferences. And so we wanted to make sure there was a really good blend of networking time as well as time to, take care of a little business. If you have to answer some emails in between some of the different sessions, there'll be breakout sessions where different experts will be in different rooms talking about different topics. So we'll have one person doing Instagram, one person doing live streaming, one person doing, blogging, etc. So that you can take your time and go to different tables at different time, as well as having an opening keynote, a lunch keynote, a closing keynote, and then we're going to have an after party. So if you can't make the social media day, which we hope you can, but if you can't make that, then hopefully you can come at night and join us and hear from the people that are there, what they learned, meet some of the speakers, get some information that way. And, it'll still be a valuable experience for you any way that you can attend.
Awesome.
So, yeah, so she's pulling it up right now. See, it's all listed on the chamber, what's going to happen and who our wonderful sponsors are.
Yep. And if you're watching this webinar live, we are still taking speaker applications to the end of this week. So if you want to speak or you know somebody that you think would be a good fit, it says April 15th. We extended it to April 22nd just because it took us a little longer to get the application ready. But we are taking applications to the end of this week. So we'd love to see you there at Social Media Day. And we're wrapping this up. Thank you all so much.
No, this has been great.
I really appreciate you with a little bit of technical glitches in the beginning, and you guys that are on Facebook, welcome to this. We at the social media committee at the MAWA Chamber will think about more ways that we can use live streaming to bring more of our events to you all. But I'd love for you to think about ways that you can use it as well, because we would love to be connected to you. We want to promote your live streams so that we can all support each other in this new world of live video on social media.
Yep, sounds good. All right, everyone have a great day. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you around, and hopefully we'll see you at Social Media Day on June 30th at the MAWA Sheridan.
Thanks, everyone.